Cowabunga! How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Crowd Surfing. It's Wednesday, baby. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's the best day of the week. Wednesday. I don't know how you say that in English. Anyway, I'm flying solo today. My name is Zee Garcia, as you can tell. Tom Vasso's still out of town. Sam Healy busy. Roy Kennedy, who knows? So it's just... What's up, Roy? I said a little something about you. You got to cut me off?
You know how we do.
I'm just kidding, baby. Anyway, everybody, again, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at some Kickstarter projects happening in the next couple of weeks. Again, just a reminder that when I do the first segment here coming up in just a minute, I'll be looking at only things that are ending within 14 days or sooner, right? So if there's something that you know about and you're thinking to yourself, hey, Z, where is that project I like? Well, I'm not talking about it yet because it's not coming up soon. So what's going on over there? Ninja? Computer Guru? What's happening?
Make sure the sound's going through.
Is the sound not going through? Can y'all hear me?
It is, yeah.
You guys are hearing me?
Mess me up.
Hey, hey, hey. There's sound. Come on now. Everybody knows. All right, everybody. So let's do it. Here we go. Let's kick it off with some projects right now. We're going to go right now. We're going. I promise. We're taking a look at the first one here, Gladiatores, Blood for Roses, which I think is an unfair trade, but that's okay. This one is a dueling game, it looks like. As you can see there, it's combat card dueling. 2 to 5 players, 8 unique gladiators. I love the too long didn't read, the fact that it's just, hey, you know, just throw us your money, don't read all this. 5 famous schools, and you're trying to outplay your rivals. So it's about a 30-minute game. There you've got a good look at all the components. Everyone's got their own board, bunch of decks of cards. Lots going on there. To back this one, it looks like the main game is going to be £35, as you can see there. And it looks pretty interesting. I like the look of it. I like the theme of it for sure. In fact, I saw a couple of other gladiatorial style games as I was looking for games to feature here, but this is the one that spoke to me the most. They have quite a few locked stretch goals. Hopefully they'll unlock all that, but it looks interesting. I like the card frames, look pretty good. I always love the artwork, as you can see there in that one, Marcus Attilius. The card art breaks the frame a little bit near the top there with his headdress. I like that kind of thing. And yeah, the whole thing just seems pretty cool, pretty interesting. So hopefully it's a good game. This is a little worrisome here. Hand management like that, risk-taking, memory card drawing. What? I don't know what that means. What? Betting, bluffing, take that, variable powers. But it is a gladiatorial game, so some of those things are to be expected. Some more components there. Looks good to me. I'm hoping it's good. Next up, Shiver Me Timbers, a strategic pirate sandbox game with modular miniatures. This ends in 8 days. It's not quite funded yet, so if it looks good, make sure you know, back it if you're interested. I really liked the look of this. It seems nice and piratey. I had a couple of problematic little flags that went up for me, and I think mostly from a translation point of view. I like this modular idea. That one ship growing is pretty cool. Look at that. Of course, this is all animated, so they make it look really cool. You're gonna have to be fiddling with these ships a little bit, but it looks neat. This Y to back. That's in strange English, and I worry that I believe this is Polish. Actually, I don't know where Michal here is from. But I worry about that a little bit. There's always, sometimes there's a lack of eyeballs on projects like this, so a translation might be real rough at the end of the day. Just something to be aware of. I would be concerned about that kind of thing. But it looks cool. I like the maps. I like the ships. I like the flavor, as I said. You got your game content here, your scoring board, and then, of course, the cards, some treasure tracks, some dice, all the modular ships you could possibly want. Lots happening. I love me some pirate games anyway. So it looks like there's plenty going on. There's, of course, a deluxe one with these cool coins, some chests, 3D rendered. Who knows what that's going to look like, really. And then down here, a few little animations to show you what the game looks like. The way that's set up, that set the stage part right in the middle, reminds me of some of those Fantasy Flight games from back in the day where they were using that style of board layout, you know, that modular board. So there you go. Next up, this one's really exciting, the Refuge, Terror from the Deep. This looks like an awesome miniatures game. As it says at the top there, 1 to 6 players in a steampunky sort of diving game, and Kraken action as well. So there you go. This is a little worrisome, solo, co-op, competitive. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Every game does not need to do everything. This does not need to be a solo and a co-op and a competitive game and a legacy game and a trick-taking game. Pick a thing. Pick something, make it the absolute best it can be at that thing. But hey, maybe they'll be the ones to pull it off, you know, to do everything equally well. As it is, I like the look of it. It kind of looks a little abstract-ish, but that doesn't bother me necessarily with the whole Kraken layout there. Minis, or at least their renderings, look awesome. The 30 minutes sounds like a lie, but I'm gonna hold off my judgment on that. And then, of course, as you can see down here, you're gonna get a whole bunch of cards, and you're gonna get some divers, some minis, a bunch of deadly tentacles, all of that stuff. What this actually reminded me of the most was Dead Men Tell No Tales, with the new expansion, the Kraken expansion that came out for that. The layout on this board, the very part at the top there that you saw, this kind of makes me think of that game with the expansion a little bit. But of course, in this one, there's divers and all that, and the steampunk action's there a little bit, and that one is just pirates and horror and stuff. So I really do like the look of this one. Let's see how much this is to get all the goodies. $49 gets you the base game, and that is stretch goals, Kickstarter exclusive stuff, and of course the core box. So let's see, what else have we got down here? Lots of little salvage cards and whatnot, miniatures. Yes, push those miniatures. Look at that. Ooh, yes. And then, of course, painted minis, which you're not gonna get, but they look amazing. Here they talk about the competitive way to play. Definitely looks pretty abstract from that board layout, I have to say. Overall, excited, intrigued. That's as far as I want to get with these kinds of Kickstarters. That has to intrigue me. This one has gotten me intrigued. Next up, Grimmer Space. I wanted to feature some role-playing game action here, and so this is a Starfinder compatible sci-fi RPG. It's got horror in there, and it's doing very well. They wanted 10,000 to fund. It's at 135 right now. They've got 4 days to go. Those last few days are usually very important, so I think they're going to do even better than they are doing right now. As you can see, you're going to get your settings and adventures book there, your Xeno files back there, player's guide, GM guide, I assume is part of all this. I liked it. You know, I'm not a role player necessarily. I've played a little bit of Pathfinder. This looks like an amazing setting. I love the dark sci-fi vibe going on here, real aliens, you know, real Predator-esque vibe. So I'm liking it. Oh, and they've got this. They've got Samwise Gamgee talking about Grimmer Space. Yo, Either this game is amazing or Samwise needs a gig. Somebody please make The Hobbit 2 Hobbit it up. Return to Hobbiton. Samwise elder years. Something. Throw this man some bread. But again, maybe not. Maybe the game is just amazing and he loves it. So there you go. Lots of content there. It looks like they're giving you a whole bunch of goodies. Let's take a look at how much I would expect to pay for this. So the big three. That's the three things you need. That's $60, but you're going to need more than that. For $80, big three and the adventures. Good. And if you want to go even more than that, Starfinder Curious, what do you get there? Starfinder Core Rulebook. Yeah, you don't have that in the other ones. All right. So another $20, you get the Core Rulebook. If you're backing this, you probably got that anyway, but there you go. All right, next up. Cover Your Kingdom. This is from the same people that did, what were they? Cover Your Assets and the, it's Grandpa Beck's games. They do a few sort of light take-that, trick-taking games. Skull King is one of theirs. And so this one looks very tongue-in-cheek, kind of a silly card game. I liked the look. They've done some neat games. This one looks out of the box pretty good. I like this artwork more than the previous stuff I've seen from them. Usually their games will get picked up and republished by someone else, and that version might end up looking better. But right out of the gate here, these look pretty good, and they're pun-tastic. Lots of puns on these. So let's take a look. As I said, it's a absurdly cutthroat take-that game. There's the cover, very neat. 3 to 6 players, 30 minutes, ages 9 to 111. Why? Because irreverence. That's why. Cards, lots of creatures, kingdoms. I like that. Clacking. Not the Kraken, mind you, the Clacking. That piggy. I don't know, it looks cute. I think if you enjoy those take-that card games that are very popular on Kickstarter, this would be right up your alley. I wouldn't mind playing this. This looks pretty neat to me. I think this might be good for a laugh. I don't know about replayability. You know, that's always where the funny games might stumble. But as of right now, I'm feeling it. It's pretty good. There you go. They got some stretch goals, some custom kingdom names, tabletop simulator. You know, the nice linen finish cards. Very good. Always need that stretch goal. Got to have that in there. 2-player mode. Whatever. And then, as they're calling it themselves, a party game. I think that's fair. Alrighty, how much was this? Let's take a look at that. How much would I pay for this? Da-da-da-da-da. I guess $25 will get you one, at least not internationally. Right? Oh, you can do 25 international. Yeah, okay. $25, not bad. Next up. I didn't take this to the top. Alter Quest. Oh, no. There we go. Alter Quest is doing some gangbusters business here. They wanted 100,000. They are at nearly 400,000. And as you can see, it's got a whole lot going on in it. They give you an introduction there, and then you can see a board. You know, it makes me think that maybe the best thing about Hero Quest was the board. Because that board kind of looks like Hero Quest's board, huh? Yeah, it does. It looks good. I like the minis being... It kind of feels like the minis are not necessarily front and center in this game. I know that's a weird thing to say. I like big old gorgeous minis. And there are some in here, but they definitely look like they're there to enhance what they're trying to sell you, not necessarily to be the thing that sells you. I can respect that. Doors look cute, all the little minis and whatever that is, some sort of stone, summoning stone, or who knows what. Obviously all painted. You're not going to get that. But it's a cooperative game, fantasy game, inspired by classic dungeon crawling games. That's of course what they're going for. And I think I'm definitely getting that vibe. If you are someone who has a soft spot for those kinds of games, this is it for you right here. I like the minis right there. There you go, lots of different ones. Gargoyles, big fan. That disgusting looking frog monster. And then the doors and the furniture and all that. The dice look really cool. I like those hero dice with the translucents. And a bunch of decks of cards. Plastic rings. Always good. And you can even read a work in progress rule book there if you so choose. Oh, they've got a guest expansion from Isaac Childress, who made Gloomhaven. And you will notice the word Gloomhaven is bigger than the rest of those words combined. Oh boy. Gloomhaven! That's where it's at. I really like this. I would love to play this at some point. So there you go. Check this one out. Lots of goodies going on there. Next up. Let's go up. Escape the Dark Sector, which is this fully black and white game from the same people that did the Escape the Dark, what was it, Dungeon one? Let me look it up. I looked at it earlier today. Escape the Dark Castle, that's what it was, this one here. So that was their previous thing. And now they've got a new one, of course, set in space. Let's back this off. There we go. Escape the Dark Sector. It looks cool to me. I did like most of the look. I like that cover. I don't know. There's something about this feel of the game that speaks to me. It makes me feel like I'm reading some dusty old tome comic book in a comic store somewhere that's been a little bit forgotten in time. That kind of appeals to me. So I like the look of the characters. It's supposed to be a very immersive style game with a lot going on in it. They tell you a little bit about how to play here. You've got your setup with your wounds and flanking, mission complete or mission failed cards there. You've got your crew. That artwork is kind of neat. They sure look like they're based on real people. But I think that style masks that a whole lot, because I don't actually like that very much. When you can clearly tell one person is someone's cousin or a backer, and then everyone else is just a caricature. In this one, they all look like people, like real people. That's okay, as long as they're consistent. So I do kind of like the look of here. Some of the later illustrations got a little iffy for me, like this one. It's kind of gross, for one thing. The dude's face is like melting off or something. But that one specific card, I thought, I'm getting real 1996 collectible card game vibes from that card. But, again, I think overall, they went with an aesthetic and they're sticking to it. I can respect that. Next up, Crimopolis. It's nothing personal. It's just business. Worker placement tile laying game. It looks all right. I saw the board down here. I'll show you in 1 second. And I thought, okay, it looks like a pretty straightforward tile placement game. 2 to 5 players, 12 and up, 20 minutes per player. Not too many components there. This is one that, how's it doing? Yeah, they only wanted, though, $3,900. So they are funding, not by a whole lot. So as you can see, let's take a look at the overview here. It's got some key features: tile placement, worker placement, multiple paths to winning. At this point, we're just reaching multiple paths to winning, minimal player downtime, simple rules. Those things you could say about what it doesn't mean any. It's not that descriptive. But there you go. There's a tile laying aspect of the game. It looks maybe a little underbaked. This is, I think, the kind of game that does all right for someone who doesn't have the resources, maybe the experience, maybe just the connections to go to a bigger publisher. So this is the kind of game that might do well here on Kickstarter. So there you go. I like that, the clock there has on the back the player aid. To enjoy that. And then those pieces, which are neat. And it's like a weird action shot. Whoa, look at that. You can keep stuff inside the house. I don't know. I'm curious what everybody thinks of that one. I wanted to feature it, but I don't know. It looks all right. Next up, Endeavor Age of Expansion is doing pretty well. Ends in 13 days, so it's got some time. And I am a big fan of Endeavor. I played the original one way back in the day, and then the new one that just came out not too long ago. And I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a fantastic job with the new production of it. Here, we've got more content for the game. You're going to have an expansion, of course. The stats are basically the same, I think. 2 to 5 players, 12 and up, 60 to 90 minutes. But you're going to be adding in some new things. There's now a trade ability. The fortify ability allows you to increase the defense of cities and so forth. And then conscription here gains a disc for free during the growth phase. That's new stuff. Some new cards that you can collect. They have this power across the bottom. That's new. And, you know, it keeps the same look as everything else. There already was a lot of content for this game, especially if you got it on Kickstarter. There was a solid amount going on there. So I don't know how much more we need, but hey, it's there if you want it. And of course, Rado did a preview there, so check that out if you want to know a little bit more. They let you know what's in the game. Bunch more tiles, more cards. They're still working on some of that artwork, of course. And then a game tray. The one in the original box is fantastic. But that does mean if you back this, you're keeping the box. You're not combining everything in one box, or probably not anyway. So overall, I'm digging it. Let's take a look at how much this would be. That's in Spanish. That's in German. I guess they're just different pledges for different places in the world. So 35 Canadian, which is about 26 bucks US, you're gonna get the expansion. That is not bad. 26 US dollars? Pfft. Yes, very nice. Cool, I'm excited for that one. All right, next up, we've got Untamed Feral Factions. And this looks fantastic. I love the illustrations here. You'll see the artwork definitely makes me think of well-produced video games. That's the look it's giving me. The cards look well put together. It's just a charming looking game. So in the box, you're going to get 96 animal cards, 9 stronghold cards, 1 per faction, and then 36 item cards. So just look at that artwork. You know, look at all this. This is a carefully curated Kickstarter. It looks really good. Here they tell you how to play, and it basically reads like a game like Smash Up. You're shuffling up a few parts and then playing with that, as it says there. You know, you pick your 3 factions, shuffle them, boom, that's your deck of cards. And then you're going to be playing those animals and items and battling your opponent. There's a lot of these clashing games. I don't know if this is going to be different or innovative, but it looks good. And that's a big part of getting someone just to look at your Kickstarter campaign for more than 10 seconds. You know, if you don't have somebody in the first 10 seconds, you don't have them. At least interest, right? Like, you know, grabbing that interest. We've got some game previews down here, so again, feel free to check these out if it's catching your eye as well. But for me, yeah, I like that, man. Look at that croc. That's cool. Oof, look at that panda. Eric Lang right now somewhere just woke up. Man loves pandas. I don't know what it is. All right, there we go. This was almost my Kickstarter pick of the week, I have to say, because it looks great. But I'm not so sure about the gameplay, and so I didn't quite pick it. Plus, my next pick, choice here, and last choice of today, just has a theme that grabs me, and that is this one right here, Last Aurora. This is my pick of the week, and it's just singing to me. It's got the cards, but it's also got that theme, that post-apocalyptic frozen wasteland theme. It's got the cool minis with the trucks. It's got, I don't know, it's just got its own personality, this game, and I like that a lot. As you can see there, there's a big frozen ship in the background. It is a competitive post-apocalyptic game for 2 to 4 players set in a frozen, desolate wasteland. Entering the Lost Aurora world is an awesome experience, they say. That's kind of a weird thing to say in your own Kickstarter, but whatever. So let's see what we got. Core pledge. You got the game. You get that road board. Looks really cool. Bunch of cards, exploration cards, and then of course a bajillion different decks to do things. You've got survivors and fuel, of course. The ship itself is called the Aurora, so that's the ship token. And all the usual suspects, food and ammo and, you know, whatever, damage counters, all that jazz. That sounds like I'm saying this has all the same stuff as these games usually do. That's true, but I've yet to find one post-apocalyptic game, I think, unless I'm forgetting something, that I am completely enamored with. Every time I see one, I'm thinking, is this the one that is going to be just as captivating as some of the video games that do this, like Fallout, right? And it looks like it might be the one. It really does. It looks fantastic. I love the illustrations, theme, bits at play here. I'm digging it. So there you go. Definitely check this one out. Let me go back up top, see how they're doing. 47,000. They wanted 22 and a bit. Got 13 days to go. And you can get the game for, that's 39 euros, which you're looking at about $44 US. That's kind of cheap. I'm not sure if the quality of the components is not going to be there. I'm a little concerned about that. Because with that many plastic bits, that much content, 44 bucks? I don't know. I'm a little worried. But there you go. So, Last Aurora, again, my pick of the week. And that's it for me looking at what's coming out and what's happening on Kickstarter. Let's go ahead and check out some contributors.
Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview recap. I'm Mark, and today we're going to put the spotlight on The Last Aurora. Radioactive dust has left the northern countries in a complete icy wasteland. Now supplies from the old world completely exhausted and travel to the south far too dangerous. A new radio message of hope has been heard. The last Aurora, the last icebreaker, is moving along the coast looking for survivors. Winter is coming, and in a few days, those who do not make it out in time will be trapped in the ice forever. It's a race against time. It's a race for survival. Will you make it out in time, or will you be left behind? So this game is truly a race across the frozen tundra to get to that last Aurora, the icebreaker. But along the way, you're gonna have to manage your resources, fuel, food, and ammo. You'll also be gathering new survivors along the way, as well as new vehicles or trucks and different containers to hold all your supplies and survivors, building out this incredible convoy that will help you across this frozen tundra. And along the way, you're going to be running into bandits, of course, which have ambush abilities. However, in this game, you don't have dice. You have outcome cards. You're going to be flipping those outcome cards to see what happens next. You might miss your target altogether. You might do damage to your weapon as you engage the enemy, but it's always dependent on the level of weapon that you're using. One of my favorite aspects of this game is building out that convoy. You're building out this deck of cards. It's kind of a deck builder-ish, but you build out the convoy, putting weapons and armor and all kinds of things onto it. It's a pretty neat system. And of course, there's actions you can perform along the way. You're going to be running into radiation, so there's ways to remove that radiation. You can be leveling up your characters by giving them extra food so they can be more efficient at exploring those exploration zones. And gathering special survivors that give you special abilities and movement along the way, because you can travel pretty far across the map. And of course, the race aspect comes into play as you run or race across this tundra, being the first one to make it to the last Aurora. And so the game has a lot of different aspects to it. You're doing the race across the tundra. You're managing your resources and dealing with survivors, keeping them healthy, and building out that convoy. So there's a lot to like in this game. And coming soon, we're going to be taking a look at Dwellings of Eldervale. I'm pretty excited about this game. It's got a lot of neat worker placement aspects to it, a lot of different things it can do. Your wizards and warriors and things of that nature dealing with creatures and elemental zones. So I'm looking forward to this game. Look for my preview coming about mid-campaign. Also coming soon is my preview for Game Toppers. Game Toppers is doing a new campaign. They've got a bunch of new products and new accessories that go with their amazing tables. You know, I got invited down to Game Topper HQ. It was an amazing experience. The quality and workmanship that they put into these tables is just something amazing. So look for this preview coming soon. All right, folks, if you want more information on The Last Aurora, please go watch my full preview. And if you want your game featured as a Dice Tower preview, please shoot me an email. All right, folks, until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Sister Meeple here, bringing you my 5 most anticipated games launching on Kickstarter in late June. June 25th. The Isle of Cats is set in the City of Kings universe, but it's considerably lighter than the original game. The evil superhuman Vesh is on his way to this cat-filled island, and we must help rescue the cats by placing their polyominoes on our boats. Any game with such adorable meowples is worth checking out. I don't usually pick games without a firm launch date, but there are a couple scheduled to launch sometime in June I couldn't resist. The first is Trudvang Legends by CMON Games. Any CMON launch is a big deal, and this one is focused on storytelling, which is a bit different from their usual fare. Trudvang Legends is an epic saga based on Nordic and Celtic myths in which decisions and events in one game have a lasting impact on the next. Game boards are filled with small plastic pockets big enough to hold a card. That's how changes are made and tracked. And of course there will be lots of stunning miniatures and Kickstarter exclusives. The second game, launching who knows when in June, is Pangea by Polish publisher Red Imp. Pangea is an asymmetric area control game set in the time of the Great Permian Extinction. Each player manages a particular species and tries to prepare it for the imminent catastrophe by adapting to a changing environment as well as fighting other species. It's so sciencey. I love it. July 2nd. I saw Shovel Knight Dungeon Duels at Origins last week, the latest in a string of board games based on video games. This dungeon crawler is true to its source, with side-scrolling terrain and challenging bosses. It's been described as light, fun, and vicious with gorgeous and brilliantly crafted miniatures. Also launching July 2nd is Rare Roses, illustrated by Nene Thomas. In Rare Roses, players are competing florists collecting and trading to form sets of rare flowers to sell to various buyers. Roses start as buds, bloom the next turn, and eventually wither away if they aren't used to fulfill orders. The humor on some of the cards was a nice surprise. So that's what's coming up the last half of June. Did I leave out your favorite upcoming Kickstarter? Post it below in the comments.
All right, everybody. So here's what I'm thinking about today and what I wanted to talk a little bit about. The topic, as you saw, is called How Soon is Too Soon? And what I'm mainly focusing on here is something I've experienced myself and seems to be a trend, and that is something gets put up on Kickstarter. It does well, comes out. It's some awesome game with plenty going on, lots of content, enough that you're going to be busy for a while. And the week it gets to your house, it seems, the company launches a campaign for the expansion. And you've barely had time to take the shrink wrap off your game. Sometimes you don't have it yet. And I wonder, is that simply too much content? I wonder how it makes people feel. Do you feel, I'm sure part of the folks backing the games feel this way, that content you should have gotten in the original pledge that was ready to go got held back to make into an expansion to get more money? Does it feel like, hold on, do your red flags go up? Do you feel like, I haven't even scratched the surface on the one I just got, but you're selling me more content? Why? Is the base game not that good? Are you trying to get your money before people start noticing it's not that good? Again, that's the pessimist in me. The optimist is saying, great, more content. Do I need it? Are you just preying on my fear of, cool, I got all this unplayed stuff, but if I don't get that before I've even really tackled whether I would want it, it's gone. How do you feel about that? I'm curious what you think about that practice. And also, Companies kind of have to do that, don't they? I mean, you wait too long, people don't remember your game anymore. Shelf life on games and sort of just, you know, the how long a game stays in the consciousness is getting shorter. Every passing year, that window gets shorter and shorter. So I'm curious what you think of that. Would you rather a company hold off, give their backers time to dive into the game, and then more people are likely to back that expansion? Or do you think, get it while it's hot, if the game is currently on people's minds, make the expansion now? So Eric is saying, is it to get more money or is it to make the base game affordable in retail? I think the latter. To make the core box, the base box, affordable in retail. I guess you're saying to sell more of them as soon as they hit retail, because folks will look on Kickstarter and go, oh, an expansion to a game. I'm buying the base game. I guess that's true. I call that preying on that fear of missing out too, though. Buying a core box that was not on your radar because it's an expansion you don't really know anything about on Kickstarter? Ugh. Again, don't get me wrong. Companies, please make that money. If people will give you the money, make it. But it seems a little weird to put out content for a game when no one's had a chance to play that game. Companies that make movies at the very least wait till the box office weekend is over before they say, yeah, the ink just dried on a sequel. They saw some response there. Folks either liked it or didn't like it. But it is a similar concept, so maybe that's just the way you got to do it, So let's see what everybody's saying in here. Arami saying, included in the game. Another thing is, when they have expansions with the Kickstarter, just include all the content that they already have available and made. Yeah, but the problem with that is you group it all together. To get all of that costs $300, and you don't know anything about it. It's a real gamble, right? And that's going to flare up that fear of missing out. I could buy just the core box. That's $80. Game looks great. I get it, I play it, I realize it's my favorite game ever made. Now what? Are they going to Kickstart again? That's rough. Am I paying $600 in the secondary market for the stuff I didn't get? Or do I get it all now and then play it and realize this isn't my kind of game. This really wasn't for me. I honestly fall into the camp of split it. I really do. I don't necessarily need all the possible content you can possibly come up with in 6 months. Take your time with it. I'm just saying the time frame, the window looks very shady. And I think that might work against them just as much as it works for them. I only buy specific designers or game series, it says Charles. Play each one 10 plus times before buy another one. Sure, that's a good practice. The problem is more missing out on something, right? The difference with movies is that they may be able to produce it from investors before the masses would need to decide if they'll see it. That's also true. Absolutely. That money's coming from elsewhere. It's not just people's money that paid for that ticket. 6 months in between getting the base game and a new expansion is good enough for me. I've had time to play it and to think if the game is something I really like or not. I agree. I think that sounds pretty good. 6 months out there in the public. But that's 6 months and the year and a half it took to deliver. That's 2 years. Is 2 years too long? Does anybody remember that game having been on Kickstarter? That's the balance. I don't really have any answers for you, of course. I just think it's an interesting concept. This idea of when do you strike? When the iron's hot, still you got to do it, or do you let people play the game a little bit? I don't mind as long as I will have the ability to get it outside of Kickstarter. My FOMO isn't that high, though, says Brad. And then Robert Geislinger says that he only tends to back at base levels. Well, that's good, but again, that FOMO hits a lot of people. And of course, Heather is just late to the discussion and just shut up and doesn't know what's going on. So that's okay too. Anyway, let me know later on if you're not watching this right now what you think about that in the comments below. What is your preferred time window for backing an expansion to a game you backed previously and have enjoyed? And when would you rather they do it? Is the risk of the game actually not ended up being what you wanted worth backing that expansion even before you've delved in? So that's going to be it for me. Let's check out one more contributor here, Mr. Who's up next? Oh, Mr. Stegmeyer, Stonemeyer himself, talking about, well, something more sharp than anything I've said. Let's check that out.
This episode is brought to you by GameFound. Create a free pledge manager for your project.
This is Jamie with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about scheduling and timelines. Specifically in terms of scheduling and timelines after your project has successfully funded. This is past the point where you've estimated your project date, you've put that in the reward levels, you've built in buffer times for things like US holidays, August in Europe, Chinese holidays for production, those types of things. This is after that. One of the first things you can do is, even though you can't update your reward levels after the project is funded, or after even you have a single backer, you can update backers on a regular basis to let them know how production is going and what your revised estimates are. I'm going to use the word estimate a lot in this video because I think it's important to constantly reinforce to backers that every date is an estimate until it actually happens. So, for example, after your project ends, you can put a project, you can change your project image to add a progress bar created on your own in InDesign or Illustrator or Photoshop to show the current status of the project and what is to come next and how long that might take. And whenever you do an update like this, whenever you change that progress bar, whenever you post an update, even elsewhere, your e-newsletters and other places like that, stress that everything is a range. Like, you can tell them where the game is right now. So you might say, okay, it's leaving China right now. It's on the ship. It has departed from port in China. And now we expect for it to be on the water for 3 to 5 weeks. Put a range in there so backers know that you're doing your best to guess that estimate, but you don't really know. And even that, if whatever the first number is, I'd recommend buffering that a little bit, because often backers will see that first number and they will think that's when it's going to happen for sure. I don't know why, but I've seen this happen time and time again, where backers see, okay, this might arrive in June or July, and on June 1st you start to get emails from backers asking, where's my reward, where's my tracking number? I also recommend sharing with backers the vessel number for the ships that are traveling from wherever you're making the game, especially if you're making it in China. Backers seem to like to know, but at least have the ability to see exactly where their game is on that ship. Make sure, again, that you let them know that those numbers are often estimates. They're not always exactly precise, but it can be reassuring to backers. Kind of like when you call an Uber or a Lyft and you can see exactly where your car is. That's very satisfying. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are the key elements of scheduling and timelines after your project is over. Just keep backers updated and let them know that everything is an estimate. If you have any questions about this topic, feel free to visit my blog, the KickstarterLessons.com blog. There's a scheduling and timeline section there, or post in the comments below. Thanks.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us on this installment of Crowdsurfing. Thanks for hanging out with us. As always, thanks to the contributors for their wonderful, fantastic, and enlightening thoughts. And I hope you had a good time. Again, have yourself a happy Wednesday. Come on back and join us for more content throughout the rest of the week. We've got all sorts of things coming out. And I'm Zee Garcia. You've been watching The Dice Tower, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.